So we all know Nintendo Online can be really laggy at times, but that's not what I'm here to talk about today. I just think that Nintendo Online is lacking a lot of features among some other things, so in this video I'm going to be taking a look at how I think Nintendo Online can improve. So we could sit and talk for hours about everything wrong with Nintendo Online and all the stuff that they could fix and improve, but I'm just going to try to focus on the best and most impactful changes that they could easily make without it being too ridiculous. The first thing I want to start with though is talking about the games that come with Nintendo Online. There are a lot of really good games on here, both on the Super Nintendo and the original Nintendo, but it's taken years to get to this point. When Nintendo Online first started, there was only a few NES games, and they've slowly released NES games and the Super Nintendo games too over time. And like I said, they have a lot of really good titles like Super Metroid, Kirby Superstar Ultra, Super Mario World, Link to the Past, etc. And the fact that all of these are free with Nintendo Online is really cool. It makes it worth it, honestly. But there are still a lot of games lacking, and this is a problem because there's no virtual console on the Switch like there was on the Wii U and 3DS. Hey, who would have thought we'd be comparing the Wii U to the Switch like this? But anyway, Nintendo needs to release more games. Of course, games like Mega Man and Street Fighter would be really nice, but I think what would be easier for Nintendo to do would be go ahead and to add Nintendo 64 games. There's really no reason not to, and if you think about it, doing that is probably easier than getting the licensing for some of the other good NES and Super Nintendo games that are missing. One of the things Nintendo has been doing right though is adding online multiplayer to the games that were already locally multiplayer. This to me is really cool for several reasons, and it adds more value to every title they add. And this with the Nintendo 64's library would be really cool because the Nintendo 64 was built around multiplayer and has a ton of good multiplayer games that could be ported. And of course, if Nintendo really wanted to, they could obviously add GameCube games too, but if that's just too much fun for Nintendo to give us for free, I'd bet they could get away with having NES, SNES, and N64 games be free while GameCube games are all $5 each or something. Either way, I'd be happy to just have all the options to play those games on the Nintendo Switch, and it would be better than what Nintendo is doing now for sure. Which is nothing. Some more stuff they could add would be a Game Boy and Game Boy Advance emulator too, since there are a lot of good games on both of those consoles people would love to play. And the Wii U had GBA games, so like why not? Also, just out of curiosity, what if Nintendo released a GBA Classics pack for $20 and it had 20 of the best GBA games like Metroid Fusion, some Pokemon games, Wario Land 4, Zelda Minish Cap, Kirby and the Amazing Mirror, and I don't know, maybe Mother 3? So anyway, now that Reggie's gonna chase me down with fire, it's time to talk about something arguably even more important. Global warming. The lack of online features in Nintendo games. So in terms of online functionality with Nintendo games, there is a lot to talk about, but to start off, why is it so hard for them to just make a good party system? Nintendo has always been a little different with their online approach, to say the least, and with the Nintendo Switch, me along with a lot of other people were hopeful Nintendo would finally get back on track. And well, there are certainly a ton of improvements, but they just can't get it together. Why do I need a smartphone app to talk to people online? What is so hard about the system Xbox, PlayStation, and Steam use where you just add friends and invite them to your game/voice chat party? That seems like it should be really simple, but of course this is Nintendo, so they're gonna do everything they can to make sure their online is anything other than perfect. But that aside, in the actual games themselves, there's a lot missing. One example that keeps me up at night is the fact that you can't play full boards online in Super Mario Party. But believe it or not, you can actually play the mini-games online. They're really laggy, but at least you can play them. I don't know what Neanderthal at Nintendo is holding back so many online features for no reason, but we need to find and stop this man. When Mario Party 10 came out on the Wii U, I was surprised there was no online, but I still liked the game. Everyone in their grandma sent physical handwritten letters to Nintendo asking for the next Mario Party to have online. And I guess whoever manages Nintendo's mail is in the possession of the monkey's paw, since the wishes were granted, yet no one got what they wanted. There really is no reason for there not to be full boards playable online. That's the most fun part of Mario Party. I've seen some people say that maybe it's because they were worried about everyone leaving mid-match, but like, come on, just replace them with CPUs, and worst case scenario, if everyone leaves, you're just playing a local game anyway. But seriously, imagine real quick Mario Party was a PlayStation IP and how much fun and easy it would be to play full boards with all the homies online. And of course, this is only one example of the many features missing from multiple multiplayer Nintendo Online games, and there are tons of others. While Nintendo did a pretty good job with online with Mario Maker 2 and Smash Bros, aside from the horrible connection issues, most of the other games are just lacking. Another prominent example of this is in Kirby Star Allies. This game is really good and has a lot of free content that's been added since the release, but as far as I'm aware, there's no way to play online co-op multiplayer the same way you can locally. And this I will never understand. It's obvious a lot of Nintendo's charm comes from couch co-op aspects of their games. I see no real reason for them not to just make all their local multiplayer games online multiplayer also. I was pleasantly surprised when they did this for the NES and Super Nintendo multiplayer games, but again, it just doesn't make sense that they haven't done this with their other games. The most prominent, ridiculous example of this is the fact that Mario Maker 2 once again has good online support, but New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe has literally none. And once again, I understand that with how laggy Nintendo Online could be, maybe some people wouldn't want to play platformers online, but look how many people play multiplayer for Mario Maker 2. Even if only one person played Mario Maker 2's online multiplayer, that's infinitely more than the 0 people who can play Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe online, which is really just disappointing because I like the game and I just wish I could play it online with my friends, because while it may be more fun to play it locally multiplayer, I have homies in other countries I want to play with, bro. So I know not everyone is Mr. Worldwide over here, but I assume everyone's on the same page as me, considering everything I've said are just quality of life improvements Nintendo could add easily. But now it's time to talk about something that I think is a bigger deal than most people, which is Nintendo's horrible lack of achievements. So by that I didn't mean Nintendo the company has never achieved anything. I obviously mean the online doesn't have an achievement system like every other one. So this kind of thing isn't really a big deal on the surface of things, but there are unsurprisingly a lot of people who have said they'd only consider getting a Switch or Nintendo Online if they added achievements. While achievements don't really matter too much, they are good incentives to play games and challenge yourself more than normal, since you can earn these digital awards you can compare with your friends too. Achievements in general add another aspect to gaming online, both with the extra challenges they have and also the social / comparison aspects of them. I personally prefer Xbox's achievements to PlayStation's just because there's a number that represents your total achievement points, but maybe Nintendo could do a mix of both, where achievements are bronze, silver, and gold badges that are all worth different amounts of points that add up to a total score. If you really want to get into it, the achievement points could be used like the silver coins in the eShop, since that wouldn't hurt Nintendo financially. Obviously, Nintendo would need to spice up their entire online social structure in order to include something like achievements smoothly, but I think we all want Nintendo to hurry up and do that anyway. It shouldn't be hard to imagine how achievements would not only encourage more people to play Nintendo Online in general, but adding them would be a good way to make sure that all of Nintendo's games have at least some people playing them, because not gonna name names, but some games seemed almost trendy with how quickly they dropped off. And don't even get me started on how dope it would be for Nintendo to add achievements for all the online retro titles and stuff too. So once again, I just want to say that I don't hate Nintendo Online at all. I use it frequently and I enjoy it. But the claim that Nintendo Online is perfect or even great is just straight cap, and lying to ourselves about the state of Nintendo Online isn't going to help anything. Trust me, I bought the Wii U. But when it comes to the solutions to these obvious problems, that's where everybody disagrees. So I'm going to attempt to sum up all of the solutions Nintendo could have to fix their problems. Obviously, Nintendo has a pretty big to-do list when it comes to the general idea of fixing online, and they should definitely start with the abundant connection issues, but those are boring to talk about, and this is a YouTube video meant for entertainment, not a direct message to Nintendo. Unless you're watching Nintendo, please listen to everything I say. So I think an easy place to start with all of this would be to first just add some more Super Nintendo / NES games to the library, or hurry up and drop some Nintendo 64 games to tide everyone over while you fix the rest of the issues with Nintendo Online. Not only would this be cool, but if Nintendo adds enough, it would get a lot of people to stop complaining about Nintendo Online's lack of features. At least it may slow down some of the complaining. Maybe. And of course, Nintendo adding GameCube titles, even if they're only purchasable, would be an easy and very significant improvement to Nintendo Online as a whole. About the achievements though, as time goes on, the amount of work required for achievements is only going to go up. And I really don't expect Nintendo to add any achievements, unfortunately, but we all know they should, and if they're going to do it, the sooner the better. And also, please add them to the NES and Super Nintendo games too, please. And lastly, and maybe even most importantly, Nintendo needs to add way more online support to their games, from adding online support to Mario Party, Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, and Kirby Star Allies, to also just adding more features in the OS for the Switch and Nintendo Online in general to make all of our lives a little easier. Please, Nintendo. I know Nintendo fans never stop asking for stuff, but I think the things highlighted in this video are objectively beneficial for Nintendo as a whole. So before the Nintendo ninjas come after me for accidentally revealing the future of the Nintendo Switch, please subscribe to the channel, where I will continue to upload until the Nintendo ninjas get me.